should be good. Okay, come on, load yourself. It's deciding if it wants to load itself or not. I'm live, but it ain't loading itself for whatever reason. It will. I see it just sitting there spinning circles right there. So I have to give it a second and see what it's doing there.
Okay, can I ask you to send me the link to the site? Because I'm sitting on a TFL at War site and I don't know if it's the right one.
Right, I'll send you the link.
Thanks.
I'm playing games with this thing right now anyhow, so. Why are you doing that? I might get this show off the ground. Just sitting there not wanting to load on YouTube. Let me go here. Let me go live feed all over.
This is not letting
There
me
it
in
is.
either.
Hold
I
on.
just changed the password and
I'll
everything.
give you a new ULR. But then maybe it'll go for you. I got it. I got it free. I got it going finally. It played games there for a little bit. You know how that goes.
Yeah. This is not letting me in. What is going on?
Okay. If it ever does its thing, there we go. Okay, we're live. And there you are. And now hopefully you can see where we're at here by now. Since we had some difficulties getting the show off the ground tonight, it looks like now it's froze on me because I shouldn't have done that. Well, I'll tell you what, it's really playing games tonight with me. So I'm going to have to reload this again.
Wow.
Because it is really seriously playing games with me. So I will reload it again. Because I'm froze over there. So let me reload it again. Okay, just bear with me if anybody's there. Because we got a few technical difficulties going on. Oh no, you're not doing that. Cancel that. Cancel. Cancel. It's playing games. Get out of here. It's trying to grab the wrong one again. It done that earlier, grabbed the wrong one. There it is. Now I got it back in here and I'm not froze. I hate it when it does that. Okay, now I should be back up and going again. Uh-huh. There we are. Back up and going again. Looks like we got two people who are just waiting for me to quit messing around. Sorry about that, but you know. A few difficulties there with this program wanting to play games with me, so I had to unplay the games. But anyhow, I have Annie here with me. Welcome to the show, Annie.
Hey, hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I see it says we got two people there. Hopefully, some people show up here in a moment or whatever. But anyhow, yeah, I was watching a video on high impact flicks, and I have an issue there. We'll talk a little bit about money here too. Okay, of course, the root of all evil. And then I want to talk a little bit about us genders, how people want to put everybody in the same category and think that what they do applies to everybody of one gender. You know, like females rejecting guys. okay, because of gender roles, and so many men live in TFL. Well, we already know that 80 to 85% of the female population is chasing after, you know, 20 to 15% of the men. Okay, that's in people's face. That's so in people's face that that's what's going on. We've talked about this before. But you got to remember, just like when they show you the gold digger, the female that's take the guy to court and clean him out, or the female is chasing after the Brad Pitt, chasing after the bad boy. You have your percentage there, but remember this don't apply to all females. And it really don't. Just like with men, you know, the nice guy comes in last. We all know that already, right? Yeah. They're the guy that women don't give the time of day to. Though the bad boy, that's the one that the women go for. And then they can't figure out why the relationship fell apart because it was all based on drama.
And
Because the
here's where I'm going to interject. I think there's a case for the women who goes for the bad boy. I also think there's a case for the bad boy who goes for the good woman, who targets the good woman. And there's a little bit of a dance that goes on between them on both sides. And you're right, it is drama fueled. And I think that part of the problem is that um, we women are led to believe, and I'm generalizing, I'll talk about myself. I was led to believe through my childhood and my programming, particularly in my teen years, that, romance was full of passion and drama. So that's part of it. So that looks like a passionate and dramatic relationship, and for sure it is. But not, it never has a happy outcome.
well, no, it wouldn't because see, you can have passion, but when you add drama to the passion, drama destroys. Will absolutely destroy a relationship between a man and woman. And people lost their minds. They can't figure this out. It's no different than the person who's the Bible buff and goes with the words in the Bible and says the woman's submissive, so therefore I'm the head of the household and she will do as I say. That person now, that attitude right there, we're going with that belief. That's only going to go for so long before the woman's tired of you treating her like dirt, like a slave, and telling her what she can and can't do. And it's no different than when the woman's telling the guy what to do.
And what's up with that too? It's like the Bible, okay, written in patriarchal times, and women, I guess, in those times were property. But it's like you concretize the myth as well, because if you want to look at it as energies, then a feminine energy would be the intuitive energy, and a male energy would be the active energy. And traditionally, I mean, none of us take any action unless we kind of think about it first, or, get inspired before we act. So you would therefore not want your female energy to be submissive to the male energy, because otherwise you'd just be acting on impulse the whole time. So it's kind of got the Bible's got things the wrong way around. If you look at it as a mythology rather than a concrete set of laws or real stories, historical stories.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The Bible, unfortunately, unless for a lot of people, they're never going to buy into this, but the Bible's been a written script,
Right. And
okay?
there was
And
an interpretation that I was interested in that described the Adam and Eve myth as Adam coming from the word atum or atom, and Eve coming from the word electron. So it's when the electron is separated from the atom, and that's when supposedly life began. Um, so that's one way of looking at it. Then you can look at it, like I said, in a different way. You can look at them as energies, female energy and male energy, and the female energy got inspired by, I guess, wisdom or knowledge. And then Adam acted on that. The male energy acted on that. So if you want to look at it as one person, it's one person taking action from an idea or a piece of knowledge that kind of led it into out of the Garden of Eden or the place
Well,
where we
yeah.
are.
Well, they tell you that Eve's the one that picked the apple and ate the forbidden apple.
Oh yeah, we paid for that
Okay,
one.
so there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
but the thing is this is all a written story because this is let's use the Adam and Eve story for just a moment and let's just think about that. So God created Adam. He created the planet. This is what you're telling everybody. He created the animals. Then he created Adam. Now Adam was alone. Only had no humans on Earth, just the animals and Adam. At least this is what they want to teach you, right? And then they're going to tell you that God took the rib from Adam to create Eve. As now Adam had a mate.
Women came from man. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're going to tell you this hocus pocus. That's what it is, magic, right?
Mm.
Okay. But what nobody ever stopped to think about. So what they told me when I was growing up in Sunday school and in church was that Adam, they took the rib from Adam and created Eve, and this is the first two human beings on the planet Earth outside of the animals that God created, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to say, okay, so what if Adam and Eve were black people? How did I get
Mm-hmm.
here? What if they were Chinese? Where did I come from?
Which is why you get in trouble if you start concretizing those myths and those stories and you take them verbatim as, this is the absolute truth and it happened exactly this way. As soon as you do that, you're in trouble.
Yeah. See, so therefore, just with a little logic, you can debunk that as being an actual official story of truth.
Well, yeah, it's a myth, and I think it points to something else.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
I still think it's kind of interesting that it's back to front that women come from men according to that story, and that women are the ones who led men astray according to that story. But if you take it, if you look at interpret it in different ways, like I said, like the electron coming from the atom, that makes a little bit more sense. And if you look at it as energies, male energy, female energy getting the idea, male energy taking the action, and it takes the action on an idea that went wrong. That makes much more sense to
Well,
me.
yeah, that's just
Just
it.
me.
But the thing is this. That's why I try to tell people right off the bat.
Mm.
Men and women, the differences between men and women, the majority of people already understand there is differences between the man and woman. But at the same token, I would have to say the differences is not as great as what they have told you and promoted to you and taught you because they wanted division. They wanted the man and woman to fight one another. They,
Mm.
so they'll teach more than what's absolutely true. And you really have no concrete way of backing it up or proving it because they will get, I could take any doctor, I could take any homeless guy off the street, dress him up, put him in a doctor's suit, and give them a script and have them study it. And in return, I'll get them off the street and give them an apartment and some money for food and blah, blah, blah. Well, they're going to study that script. They're going to blah, blah, blah. And then I can tell the whole world that they've got this many years at Harvard and this many years here and this many years there and give them a complete fake profile to the public. And they can read there and they can memorize their script and get up there and take their little stick and point at the human brain and they can say, this is the female's brain and this is the male's brain, and they can run through their script that they rehearsed. And now I just fooled the entire population off of a lie, off of propaganda that you pulled out, you just wrote down on paper, and
Mm.
everybody's going to believe that's true.
Mm. And just slightly off topic too, but when you're mentioning homeless, what do you think about? I think it was in Florida where they rounded up homeless people And those who decided they were not going to go to the particular homeless shelters they had for them were assessed by social workers and sent to mental institutions as insane, because they must be insane, right, if they chose not to go to these shelters that had been arranged for them. To choose to be free and homeless was considered insane as opposed to going to a shelter.
Well, that's other people
Where are we
thinking.
going?
That's right. This is called dictatorship.
Yeah,
That's called other people thinking for you. And
right.
that you must use that one hive mind, that brain in the jar and shelf that they want you to use to think with, and don't you ever think outside of what they're telling you can think with.
So how long will it be before we see the DSM V, the diagnostic um, s- manual for mental illness? How long is it going to be before we start seeing that entrance of homeless as a choice, homelessness as a chosen condition, being a mental illness with the criteria, how long? And then if they're going to decide that is an insanity, or that's an insane condition or a mental health condition, then what other conditions are they going to introduce? I suggest that they're already using AI in Canada now to scan social media sites for potential suicide victims. So, how long is it going to be before they start doing that with people who have what they call conspiracy theories, and that will be termed a mental health condition, and you'll be condemned as insane for not uh,
Well, yeah, the truth
thinking in
will.
unconventional terms. Let me put it
Well,
that way.
that's it. If you know the truth, then you're going to be mentally insane for knowing the truth.
Right, right.
Because they can.
So then, how's that going to work with men and women? The woman's going to say, oh, to her husband who happens to be awake, oh my God, like he's insane. He thinks the 9/11 was an inside job. My God, I'm going to have to pink slip him. Or the other way around, the guy who's fed up with his wife and he goes, my God, she's thinking that these operations they're conducting are psyops. So I'm going to have to pink slip her. I mean, when do we start turning against each other for that kind of somebody else who's awake basically, but the rest of society would term unconventional? We can then condemn each other as insane.
Well, they're already headed down that road.
I know.
Okay, and then people don't see that, and it's just like the dating scene topics. People are so lost. They don't understand how they roll into politics, what they've actually done to everybody, how gender roles was created, why it was created, the division it causes. It's no different than looking at that Bible that we told you about if you took it literally. Literally.
Mm,
It's the same thing all over again, and what you've done is you've created conditions that people take to heart, that they believe it is the real thing, and then they follow these conditions because society said so.
mm.
Okay, it's no different than programming. I mean, let's just look at the real truth. The real truth is I don't know anybody that wants to be ostracized by everybody around them. Not woman, not man.
Mm.
Okay, they
And
all
there's
want to fit
there's
in.
whole industries that have been created out of that division. The industry of the player, the men who, how you can get a woman into your bed, you do this, what, you say this to her, you do that, blah 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 blah. And then for women, it's how to drive your man crazy.
Oh
And so
yeah,
they have these whole websites, and people pay money for this shit, and they
well they
believe
do.
it.
You got the PUA artist, the pickup guru,
Right.
and he goes around and he's teaching, problem, reaction, solution. See,
Well,
the
there's
powers
a
to be at
still
the
a
top.
generation of women with the Zsa Zsa Gabor mentality. Men are supposed to be buying you diamond rings and all of that crap too.
Well, they is. The thing is, it's sort of like this: mind control,
Mm-hmm.
programming, MK
Yeah.
Ultra.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Jerry talks about this. I've talked about this, and this is something that we talk about quite often. That also has a lot to do with the genders. because they've conditioned you to think the way you think. And they, like I told you, that's why I used a pole and put women on one side, men on the other side. And you had two different types of conditioning going on here.
Mm-hmm.
One focused to the women, one focused to the men. And there's nobody that wants to be ostracized. So therefore, they're going to go with the conditioning. They're going to go with the programming because this is all they know. Everybody around them is doing the same. Okay, because they grew up in the same society you grew up in. They're all doing the same because they don't want to be ostracized. And nobody gives a second thought at all to what they're actually doing, what their behavior really is.
Right. Right. Right.
And because nobody's given a second thought at all to what their behaviors really is and what they're actually doing to one another, it's
Mm.
worked out great because you've divided the genders, you've placed one gender above another, you've inflated the ego of the gender that you put above the other, and then you take the other gender that you didn't inflate the ego on and you give them superficial shit to inflate their ego. Now what are they going to do? They're going to fight each other.
Right. And then there's a whole industry. There's a lot of money to be made from divorce. You know, you're talking lawyers, you're talking childcare industries that, you know, might benefit if one of the caretakers of the children has to go back to work. You're talking God, you know, houses. So houses that get sold during a split up, that's real estate involved. You know, there's a whole industry and a whole network of people that make a lot of money out of divorce.
Well, there
A
is, and it
lot of
was
money.
deliberately done. That's why I said problem, reaction, solution. They gave us
Mm.
the problem. They divided the genders the way they done it. The dating scene was very much a part of this. To divide up the genders, to make it superficial, artificial, fake. Come on, we replaced lust with love. So
Mm.
people
Yep,
lust for
yep.
the human flesh rather than love.
The
Most
sexual
people,
revolution was a huge part of it. Huge part of it.
yes.
You're looking at the Hugh Hefner and that whole thing on where that took men, and then you're looking at the pill and, you know, Gloria Steinem and where that took women, and it took us away from each other. It took us away from each other.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah. You know, and that's correct. Secret society lawyers love divorce. Of course they do. They're making a lot of money out of it. And that's really what it is, you know. So, problem, reaction, solution.
And then you've got that, what's that stupid website? Remember that website they had, which was for married people who want to have affairs, but it was secret? It was
Oh,
supposed to be
yeah.
secret.
Ashley Madison.
That's
You're
it,
talking
right?
about
What the fuck do you want
AshleyMadison.com.
to get married for? If you want to fuck around, then fuck around. Don't get married.
Oh,
It's
but they
so
promoted.
simple.
They even
So
pushed it on
simple.
media. They even put that on mainstream media.
Right.
They
Right.
promoted and pushed that website. That was to help furtherly destroy the
I would
family unit.
love to know which government bodies were behind all that. If that's not a social engineering program to end marriages, I don't know what is. Mm.
Yeah. And there it is right in your face. And they've been doing this right in people's face. And, you know, that website got big. You
Mm.
have all these men and women loving to cheat on each other. I mean, they think it's awesome cheating on one another. Now, of course, they don't think it's awesome getting caught.
Yeah.
You know, they don't think that's so awesome. They
Yeah.
don't think it's awesome when somebody lost their mind and puts a gun to their head and takes them out.
Right.
Oh, how dare him, the villain! No, you're messing with other people's emotions and feelings.
Mm.
People's
Hello,
emotions and
James.
feelings
Hello,
isn't a
Walking
game.
Messiah. Hello, Amethyst. Just saying hello to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's really, you know, the mentalities become game. It'd be like Player Supreme. Now he
Right.
passed away, but that's what he taught. That's what he taught to so many men. You got to have game. You got to have game. You got to have game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all hocus pocus. It's complete hogwash.
Right.
You should
Hi,
never have to
Holly.
have
Hi,
game.
Illusion. Yeah. So, Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I'm hearing you. I'm just having a little look at the comments here.
Yes, I appreciate them being here, but that's really where this comes from. They divided the genders so successfully that we were so ignorantly dumb that we couldn't even see what they were doing, and most people wouldn't even think about it. Not even for a
Hmm.
half a second, they wouldn't think about what they're doing onto somebody else because as long as their ego's inflated, they're getting something out of it, and running over somebody has become a norm, even outside the dating arena. What do we do in this world? We one up one another. If you're in the job site, it's run over somebody, throw them under the bus to get that position for yourself.
Right. And here's another industry that I think is got potential for harm is the whole life insurance policy thing, right? So you have one partner who takes, or partners who take life insurance policies out in the other. And I think the original idea was if somebody died and they were the breadwinner, then the other person wouldn't have feel the impact of poverty as a result of their death. But what happens, of course, is that people kill each other. It's like,
Well,
okay,
yeah.
I got this insurance policy. I'm gonna do away with them and move on to the next person, and that's it's just evil.
It's that mentality of, well, the hookup scene. It's the mentality of using one another, lying or using and playing the game to get your want. We don't care, really. We're going to use the word I love you when you don't love them at all.
Mm,
Okay, what you love is what you're getting from them.
right.
So that's what you really love is what you're getting from what you're getting from them.
Yeah.
So when you got and I would be very leery if my partner went out and took out a 200, 300,000, or even $100,000 life policy insurance out of me. I think I would have my one eye open at night all the time. I think I would
Yeah.
be very leery.
I can tell you this, and I'll share from my experience. That my husband had taken a life insurance policy out on me without me knowing. And I had an issue. I can't say I was perfect in this marriage, but I had an issue because I never heard him say "I love you," and for me, I needed to hear it, and like he meant it if he was going to say it anyway. But he did say to me, "Look, you should know that I love you because I just took a life insurance policy on both, blah 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 blah," which to me was really odd. And the week before he had done that, he bought a gun. So I stupidly said, "Well, should I be worried? You bought a gun the week before you got these life insurance policy." He exploded in rage, in abs. "You're not even worth $80,000, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, that's how I found out what what the life insurance policy paid out on." And he eventually did leave, and I was told to get out of there because when told this friend of mine about that interaction, she said, "Shit, you're in danger. You got to get the hell out of there. You don't know what he can do. And that was scary to think that somebody I had lived with that I loved might be capable of doing that. And so just that life insurance policy alone, even if he had the best intentions in the world, brought in an element of mistrust,
Well, it
of
is. The problem is this: people have allowed money, which is the root of all evil, to control them.
mm,
Look how many people, so-called truthers, are all about making money. They don't care about what they're doing. Well, if you
right.
want me to continue to make my videos, I need your donations. You can go right on down there. Or you
Yeah.
need to buy this product that I'm offering you, okay? Because I can't tell you
Here's
the
the
truth. I can't
yeah.
come up here and tell you the truth in a video if you're not giving me money for it.
Here's the shitty part about that. I think there are some genuinely good people that are struggling to do their best to put the truth forward and do obviously need funds and say so. But the problem is that there are a lot of people exploiting that, and because of the those who exploit that, the ones who are genuine get thrown under the bus along with everybody else.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you, but at the same token, I say this. I worked my whole life, and I would rather go get it. I was working full time and doing videos. I've
Yeah.
never asked a penny from anybody ever,
Mm.
ever. Okay, didn't
Yeah.
ask for donations. Don't ask for a penny. Matter of fact, I paid for the radio show that was on for so long out of my own pocket.
Right.
Okay, and I didn't ask people for money when I was paying for that show. So I have a problem myself when I see somebody that has to have money to tell the truth, because the thing is this: what's going on in society affects every one of us.
Mm.
Whether you think it's going to affect you or not, it's going to. And if you're fighting evil that's going to destroy your family, destroy your neighbor's family, destroy your community, destroy your country, what the hell makes you think you gotta have that tool to fight
Mm.
back? So if I come through your window, or somebody comes through your window in the middle of the night with intentions on doing bodily harm to your family, what are you gonna tell them? Well, I will fight back against you if you pay me. However, if you don't pay me some money, yep, then I'm gonna stand here and let you do whatever you want to us. I mean, this is the mentality. It's like, have you lost your mind? You said,
Yeah.
well, no, I got to make a living somehow. Have you ever heard of a 9 to 5 or a 3 to 11 or a 7 to 11, job? Maybe start your own
And you know
business,
what?
but it
Most
ain't
of those
making
people
videos
who work
telling
at
truth.
Walmart or 7-Eleven probably do need a GoFundMe account to supplement the really horrible wages they do get.
Well, yeah, I understand. We're slave labor, slave wages.
Yeah.
But look what it's done to the dating arena. Come on, I mean,
Okay.
we have inflated ourselves to where, okay, the man was for years the provider and protector, and I mentioned this to Warren already. For many years, the gender roles was the guy is the provider and protector, and the woman was looking for a good provider and a good protector, right? And I
Yeah.
says, so for many years it was that way, but in today's society, how can you even justify saying the provider?
And
Because
here's
there's
my
many
thing.
women out
I
earning the
don't
men.
think it was always that way, Bill, because my family, I come from a working class background, right? And my great grandmother, from 11 years old, worked in a velvet mill factory. She married a man who owned a sweet shop, I think, and then he got called up for war. So she had to fend for herself because he kind of disappeared for a while there. They did, he did come back and they did get together and all that. But I mean, for working class women, we never had that choice. So a working class woman never had the choice of, oh, I'm going to stay home and look after the kids. It just wasn't a reality.
No. Well, that's just it. Okay, you might have the businesswoman who's out there working, don't got time for a date because she's spending her whole life on a job getting rich. Okay, that's her prerogative. Okay,
Hmm.
but then you got the other situation in society where they still want to go back and use the old gender roles and say the man is the provider and protector, and I say, well, let's get to reality. In today's world, there's more women out earning men all the time. So
Right.
when you got in reality, you have women out earning the men in GM positions and so on and so on.
And they're looking to upgrade. They're looking for a man who's earning more, has a higher earning capacity, probably.
Exactly. Now it's
Yeah,
because she's making this good money, she starts looking for a guy who's making more than what she's making.
yeah,
Okay, she don't want the guy that's making less.
right,
Okay, so what did that do to her? What did that do for this relate to her chances in life? That means her idea of a relationship is based on what? Money.
right, right.
Okay, that's what
And
that
but then
means.
there are men who value themselves. That probably it's a evil cycle, because then you're going to have, and tell me if I'm right, um, you're going to have a certain percentage of men who are going to think, I have to earn this much money if I'm to attract a female into my life. I have to. They start seeing their self worth in terms of what they earn and what they make.
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, Wow.
No, you're not off on that at all. That is
Yeah.
correct. There's a lot of guys that think that, that is exactly what it is.
Right.
And then you got the woman on the other hand that's going after, and if
Mm,
she is making good money, then she's after the guy that's making more than her.
right.
So
Amethyst
it's
just for a minute just said, "Oh my God, Anna, that's a horrible story." Yeah, it is a horror story. But if any of you would like to quickly outline your heartbreaks or your horror stories, I am more than willing to listen because this isn't about me. And I don't represent all women. I'm just one person who had my own experience and it wasn't a good one. And my true forced loneliness has been a choice. Um, Bill knows my story.
yeah,
um,
we talked about this extensively because you have people up here that are TFL that they're determined no woman could ever live TFL, which isn't true, which has never been true
mm,
whatsoever. Yes, the majority are men. I'm not going to take that away from you because that is true.
mm, mm,
But at the same token, it's not that a woman can't. And TFL also had two definitions. I had to give it two definitions because you have those who do it to themselves. You have the guy that sits at home and never leaves his damn house and thinks he's online and somehow this woman is supposed to magically appear at his door. Okay? I
and
mean,
also, the woman online is supposed to be really hot, right?
right. So,
That ain't always true.
and that's called self pride. I like to call that self produced
Yeah.
because you're the reason you don't get nobody in your life. Or you don't clean up and you go out there, blah, 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 whatever. So you have a percentage of men who bring it onto themselves and they're on, at their own fault for their TFL. Then you also have women. Yes, women can live TFL. Let's look at the self-produced woman who she's so picky because of social conditioning and programming that she just turned down 100 guys this year and she's complaining, I can't find a good guy.
Mm,
But
mm.
she rejected 100 guys in 1 to 5 seconds. No lie, in
Which is
1 to 5 seconds, she already knew that she wanted nothing to do with them, which means she didn't even know them, which means she can't say we didn't have something in common. I said, oh, you knew them in 5 seconds, huh?
yeah, and that's the advent, I think, of social media and online dating as well. Is it's made us much more superficial because I think I mentioned before in earlier shows, I did go on an online dating site and I couldn't date anyone because it just felt horrible to me. I felt like I was in this kind of like Amazon sort of online supermarket with we were putting ourselves up for sale with
you mean where
advertising
you
or
felt
something.
like meat at the
Yeah,
meat
and the
market?
men, I wasn't going to choose the men like they were me either. It's like, and then I realized I'm making myself like a piece of meat here. I wasn't comfortable with it, and we've got so much choice. It's bewildering, it's overwhelming, and it's not. I don't feel like it's natural. It's just not the natural way you meet people anymore. It's like to me, I don't know. I'm just
Well, that's it. People don't even know what a date is anymore. Most people, yes, I do. Well,
mm,
so when your idea of a date is, well, I'm going to go out on a date and see if I can't put my dick in a hole, that's not a
right.
date.
Here's the thing too. Like a lot of men think that this is what I found. A lot of men think that they have to really go all out to impress a woman and take her on this fabulously expensive date, which is going to be burn a hole in his wallet, and he's going to feel resentful, and then he's expecting sex at the end of all that because he's spent all this money, and so there comes the conditioning and the programming from years of pornography and hookers and whatever. But for women, it's like, for me, for most women, women I know anyway, we take a sandwich in the park, a cup of soup and bread rolls by a lake, a frozen lake in the winter, and you just chat and get to know each other. What's wrong? That doesn't cost anything, and that's a good way to get to know each other. Daytime
I
date.
know
You don't have to jump
exactly
in
where you're
bed.
going. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying. I can remember years back, I was standing there at in the shop. I was working over at a company called Maintainer, and I was over there doing chassis prep. And the guy that did the normal chassis prep, his name was Rick, and the other guy that was working with us, three of us, he says to Rick, "So are you dating?" And Rick says, "Oh, hell no." And he says, "Why not?" He says, "You gay?" And of course, Rick says, "No." He says, "Why wouldn't you be dating?" He says, "Well, I can't afford to date. Who wants to spend all that money for a date? I can't afford to be dating."
Right. Right.
So I'm not going to date because it costs too much, damn much money to date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. It costed too much money to date.
And then on the other flip side too, I guess there are women who do have really high expectations and want to go on these really expensive dinner dates. And if he doesn't take her there, then she feels like she's not worth very much,
Oh,
or
there is.
because she's valuing herself according to how much this guy's going to spend on her, and that's not what it's about. That's not what.
No, it's
I think
not.
the most valuable thing you can ever give anybody is your time.
I remember meeting a female online, and we chatted on a chat box, just like Messenger, okay, for about 4.5 months. She only lived a few miles away, so she was local.
Mm.
We decided after chatting every day for about 4.5 months to go ahead and meet each other. So we picked a public park to meet each other, right?
Mm.
So I picked the public spot. We go meet each other. The idea is not about spending money. It's about getting to know one another, which is what a date's meant to do to begin with, right?
Right.
It's not about sex. It's not about money. It's about getting to know one another. So, and we had already talked about this, so she knew how I felt. And so I go to the park, and she shows up wearing a short shirt, her cleavage hanging way out there,
Mm.
and her pack of cigarettes stuck out of her cleavage.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm like, really? Okay. And we wasn't even talking for 10 minutes and she wanted to go down this path and then she wanted to make out. I was like, no, 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 no. Okay, so see, it's not just men that are chasing this, it's women too.
Right, right,
But
yeah,
the
yeah,
deception in society is that the man is the one that always wants the sex. The man is the man, and he's the one, men are
yeah.
rapists, men are this. I can,
And then you've got a certain section of the female population too who are actually hookers who are using those dating sites for business purposes.
well, yeah,
Seriously. And so that doesn't work for either gender.
I talked about that a little bit, my feeling about hookers.
Mm,
It disgusts me, okay?
mm,
I would never pay a hooker in all my life, and you got women who'll say it's the oldest trade on this earth. And I was, well, only to the dumbest men. And they thought, they look at me and say, yep, only to the dumbest of the men. The
mm,
ones that are desperate and dumb. Why would I pay some female money to make her feel good? Well, because you're making yourself feel good, but I'm also making her feel good. See, that is something that should be sacred between two people when they love each other and are with each other, and it's not costing money.
Do you know
Uh,
what? You just got me thinking. I wonder if any kind of, and here we go, studies and who's going to conduct the study, but I wonder if any studies have been done on now that the gender division is very marked and the divorce rates are very high, whether that translates into higher numbers of prostitutes or lower number of prostitutes, male or female. I just wonder how the divorce rates have impacted the sex industry.
well, I would almost think it's the sex industry. Of
Yeah,
course, individually, it's going to depend on the individual human being, but we've over sexualized our society big
yeah,
time.
yeah,
So, since we've over sexualized society and we've replaced love with sex, lust for the human flesh, I
yeah.
would have to say more, 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 we've increased it.
Right. Yeah, it's funny.
That's where
I
I
know
would have to come from with
um
that.
yeah, I know that in Melbourne, in Australia, they legalized prostitution, and it brought in its own problems because now that it's legal, which is good, the I guess it exists, but So then you've got some guy going to visit a hooker and saying, well, it's okay, it's legal, like according to his yeah. And then they're taxing these people, sex industry workers, they're taxing them. They also are forced to, if they work for a brothel, they have to go for mandatory health examinations, etc., etc. So it's almost a little bit like government regulated. It's really, it brings in a whole different, um,
I know what you're talking about because they have that going on in Vegas.
mm,
Vegas is the only state you can go there today and get married and get divorced tomorrow.
that's right. And is the prostitution isn't legalized there yet, though? Is it in Nevada or?
It is outside of city limits. Outside of city limits, there's actually brothel houses,
There you
and
go. Maybe we need to move
they
to
have to
Nevada.
do the same thing that you're talking about. Mandatory physical health checks to make sure they're not carrying anything, and blah 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 blah. But it has been legalized outside of city limits, brothels, and you can go there and But I've always been somebody that was firmly stuck on no way will I ever pay a female for sex. If she tells me, well, I only charge this much, I'll say, damn, that's a coincidence. That's how much I charge. Damn, that's just a coincidence. I charge the exact same amount. We better take this out for free then, huh? And I say, well,
Right.
you can't charge. Well, you want to bet? You can charge, so can I. How do I know
Mm.
I'm not getting a disease from you? I might need that money for the doctor after I'm done with you.
Exactly.
You might need it
You
after you're
take
done
a
with
risk.
me.
You take a big risk. Uh-uh.
So
And
I've always been very much firm that way. Okay,
uh-huh.
and I'm very stubborn that way. You'll never catch me ever paying no girl for sex. It just ain't gonna happen. As
Right.
far as I'm concerned, that oldest trade ever is the oldest. I mean, it's like I said, that's for losers. That's for guys that are, well, what can I say?
Well, and
Because
this is the thing. This is what I think about it. Sex is like, it's not a big achievement, really. A dog can do it, in the street. It's like to sleep with someone, like right off the bat, if you're working on your instincts, your animal instincts, and it's not a big achievement. It's
oh,
not.
it is. I'm with you all the way. It's not a big achievement. A friend of mine, Amber, she used to tell me all the time. She says, all these people want to go out of here for sex for 2 minutes of pleasure.
Right.
She says,
And
in
then
2 minutes
the
time, you
lights
got
never
off.
come
Once you
on.
get off, she says, you got your pleasure. Now it's over with. And now you destroyed years worth of relationships and destroyed and made all these problems for yourself off of 2 minutes of
And then
pleasure.
then you've got a certain amount of females. I guess there is a percentage of males as well who really pride themselves on, look how many men followers I have, or how many female followers I am
That's it.
so popular. I got all these men who want to fuck me, and it's like, yeah, and
You
so
want
what?
to
What
see how
about
bad it is?
today?
You want
What
to,
a great
yeah.
achievement! You got a lot of people masturbating over you. How's
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah.
Yay!
But
Big deal.
you want to see how bad it is? I can tell you this. Go up on YouTube and just keep track of any female that opens an account and starts doing videos. She
Right.
can be completely asleep. She can be talking complete nonsense, fluff and stuff. And if she shows her cleavage and she's halfway decent looking, she's gonna have subs out the yin yang in no time at all. And that's no lie. I
Yeah.
mean, she'll go up here and she will surpass everybody with her subs
Right.
just because she's a female.
Hmm.
And that is no lie. You can go online, you can look, you can see it yourself. It's so in your face. And I laugh at these people because, it just shows how we've degraded ourselves, men and
Hmm.
women alike, how well we've degraded our own selves.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
look at it for reality. Reality is, so, let's see. We urinate from where? We have a bowel movement from where? Okay? Where does that stuff go in a toilet? Oh, but that smell that comes out, sometimes you have a real gassy day, you stunk up the whole room, right? Okay. Now I know this is disgusting what I'm saying, but come on, bear with me a minute. And so we're going to put our face in that place, and we're going to stick our tongue out, and we're going to do what? So it's like, what it was just, when you were a kid, the kid had the right reaction. If somebody talked about something like that, it'd be ew, disgusting, gross. That
All
was
right,
that was
I've
the
got a
right
question
answer.
for you. I've got a question for you. So you've made the point about the females on YouTube who attract a lot of followers by abusing or exploiting their sexuality, right?
Yep.
What about the men who insist on sending you a picture of their dick? I
Well,
don't understand
there's
this.
just
I
as
do not
I
understand.
had a conversation.
Obviously,
Oh, I'm
men
with
and
you.
women are visually oriented anyway, but I'm
Yep.
I'm speaking for me now, I guess. But it's like what that is going to do. A man sending a picture of his dick is going to make me laugh, and that's the end of it. And goodbye. It's like, it's
I'm with you on that. I mean, I look at the reality. Our world is also messed up because when it comes to the penis, they've idolized that damn penis and they stuck it in these damn symbolism. Oh,
oh, the obelisk,
yes, the
the
obelisk.
trouser obelisk. He's going to send
Okay,
me a picture of his
they
trouser obelisk. Yes,
you've used it in symbolism. Okay, and
yeah.
the penis is like, and you're right. The guy will send a picture of his penis like somebody wants. That's supposed to impress somebody, and I'm like,
It is so off-putting. It's like it's ridiculous.
I know,
It's a
I know
straight away.
exactly what you're
That's a
saying.
reject. That's goodbye. Yeah.
I know guys that's actually named their penis, and
Oh my
they
God.
give their name a freaking. Oh my god! I mean, this is bad. They give a name to their penis, and now my own cousin done this when he was alive. He's gone now, but I remember it blew me away because I totally forgot that my cousin had called his penis Moby. Okay, and so here I am years later, and I was at his house visiting, and his daughter says, "I want to see Moby," and I'm looking through the goddamn kids' books
What?
for Moby the Dick, the whale, the kids'
Yeah.
story, and she says, "No, no," and she run over and reached underneath her dad's chair and pulled out a magazine and pointed at the guy's penis.
Oh
I
wow.
freaked totally out, and I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Okay. Then it dawned on me my cousin was an alcoholic, and he was like a damn teenager. He was drunk on his ass with his magazine spread out on the floor and centerfolds on the walls right in front of his children.
No, no,
So,
no.
and that's a big no no, but he was drunk on
Yeah.
his ass, blah, blah, not using his head. So his daughter wanted to see Moby, and I was like totally freaked when she reached under that chair and come out with that magazine. And I
Yeah.
said something to him, and I said, you're going to go to jail for this crap. You need
Right.
to clean your
Right.
shit up, okay? uh,
Yeah.
but there you go. But she was named, and he's not the only one I've seen named their penis a name. And I'm like, how do you
Okay, now
name your.
what programming did that come from?
I'm not sure what programming that came from, but I had one for him because they tell the guy all the time, you think with the head and you're thinking with the wrong head.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking with the wrong head and they got no brains.
That's just
You know?
that's working from instinct. That's working from your baser animal instinct, which we all have.
Well,
But
yeah, but
you
I
don't
did. I
act
did.
on that. Like you have a choice. You don't have to act on that.
No, you don't. You don't. And
Yeah,
so, and when you tell some guy that, well, you're thinking with the wrong head, you're
yeah.
probably right. But
Mm.
women think with the wrong part too, and they say, no, I ain't got a.
Exactly.
They say,
It's just that
no,
it's more
I
heavy
ain't
footed for
got.
men because men tend to how shall I put this, stand out more.
Well, yeah, but
They're
see,
working from that
this,
part.
I had a female tell me once, she says, no. She says, only the guy can think with the wrong head because us women don't got a head down there. And I
Huh.
says, no, that head is brainless, right? And she says, that's correct. I says,
Mm.
so you know how it happens for the woman? And she says, how's that? I says, you think with your hoe. Now you got a hole in the side of your head and your brains fell out and you're just as brainless as he is.
Hmm.
And she freaked when I said that. And she says, I've never heard anybody say that. And I says, well, you can't say that now. You just have.
Yeah, because that was called a comeback.
Oh yeah,
Hang
yeah,
on,
that was
topping up
exactly
my
it.
coffee. I'm topping up my coffee. Keep talking for a sec.
I do stuff like that, because it was the ideas we're all thinking from that area, but the women's been covered up. She's covered up. She don't think like that. She don't want sex like that. It's the guy that always wants the sex. Just ask the feminist. It's the guy that always wants, always wants, always wants, always wants. And that's what your media push too. It's the guy,
Mm-hmm.
it's the guy, it's the guy, it's the guy. Well, why don't you turn a woman down once for sex and see how she acts?
Oh, right.
Yep.
Right.
And then once you ask yourself that question, why did she act that way? Why was she so mad? Because the woman don't want it like the guy is. BS. Bullshit alert. Bullshit alert. That woman wants sex every much as that man does. And we all have to control ourselves. But we have
Right.
double standards in society, and we like to play on them double standards and cover for one and slam the other.
I think it just it boils down to being honest to yourself, and like you're not wrong what you're saying, Bill, but it comes down to being honest,
It
and
is. You're correct. You're correct.
yeah,
It's
and
about being honest with yourself, and it's about understanding. It's no different than the gay guy, the bisexual guy, the pedophile. Doesn't matter what their attraction is. They control their own actions.
yeah. That's what I say. You can have those thoughts, but whether you act on them, once you act on them, it's a different thing, which comes back to the Bible, which is that thing that we were talking about, the female energy being that which has the idea or inspires, and then the action is taking those actions once you've had that idea. So, yeah, yeah. You don't have to act, but you
That's
don't have
it.
to act on every single thing that you think.
That's exactly it. It comes right back to that again. So,
Mm,
people don't stop and think about your actions you control. You
mm.
know, you have control over your actions. And you say, well, no, I can't. It's like the guy who brags. He's more of a man because he went out there and he's putting his dick in this hole and that hole and that hole. And I'm like, so you mean you got herpes or crabs? Whatever. And that makes you more of a man? No, it don't. How did you become more of a man because you're putting your penis somewhere? Give me a
Yeah.
break. Everybody has, every guy has a penis. Every
Mm-hmm.
woman has a vagina. I
Mm.
mean, we all have the same parts, just different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, I think for me, where I had to get to is I had to look at the kinds of choices I made. I mean, not every single person in the world is a bastard, I kept choosing really unhealthy relationships. So I had to go back and start looking at the programming I had, not only from my culture, not only from history, but from my family, and then how I use those ideas to act on, like to try and sort of see if I can start making better choices. So that's where I'm at, and it's the best thing I've ever done for myself is taking time out.
That's
But it wasn't
actually
a forced
very
time out like
smart.
some people have experienced here.
Yeah, that's
But
actually
even if
very
I kept
smart.
going the way I was, Bill, if I had kept going, I would have gone straight back probably into another dysfunctional relationship without really looking at it, without um, because when you're lonely, you're really vulnerable. You'll, and that's what I learned is I can live with myself now, and it's
Yeah.
better to do that. I wish I'd have done that when I was younger.
Well, I try
Yeah.
to tell the TFLers, and it's a hard one. It really is a hard one. When you get somebody that's spent years being rejected over and over and over, and
Mm,
they've done everything possible from talking to friends, taking advice, I mean, everything possible, and they're still rejected all the time, all the time, all the time.
yeah.
That's like shoving somebody off the ladder and they keep falling down, hurting themselves. They keep falling down, hurting themselves. You're going to tell their self esteem down to the point that some of these guys become suicidal.
Yeah.
Somebody may actually act out and kill, women pushing. I did a video, I think it was yesterday or whatever, and I talked about the women. They're going to create the very rape culture that don't exist.
Hmm.
Okay? And the reason I say they're going to create the very rape culture that don't exist, now I'm going to keep talking as I go here, but I'm going to bring Warren in, so just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
So this is going to take me a second, but the reason I'm
Oh, you,
the reason I'm saying that they've created the rape culture themselves is because you got an over sexualized world. You've put sex in a spot it never belonged. You have people playing power plays because they have the blah 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 sex, okay? And then you have them constantly accusing men of being rapists and so on. So I want you to think about that. If you're
so
const
some men snap, is what I hear you saying. I think
yeah,
that kind of bitterness towards having that repetitive experience of being rejected by women, they're going to start feeling angry towards women. And for me, rape, though, isn't about sex. That's about power. That's about power over another person. And I can kind of understand it from the angle that um, if a man has felt powerless, then, you know, but I can't condone it. Obviously, it's just that is guaranteed rejection for the rest of your life. once you have done that,
yeah. Is Warren here with us?
Not sure. Uh,
I went to
I'm being
add
told
him.
it was a busy signal. I'm being told that they were given a busy signal.
They were given a busy signal. Tell
Mm-hmm.
he needs to get off the phone if you're listening to this. Stay off the phone. I can't add you with you on the phone.
Being told he can't get in.
Well, he's not going to come in the show if he can't leave his phone hung up because I can't add
That's
him.
pretty bad if you're getting rejected from Blog Talk. That's all I can say.
He's not on Blog Talk. I'm trying to bring him in right here.
All right, the person is saying they were not on the phone.
Okay, well, I'm going to add him again because I seen it come up, and for whatever reason it
Bear
was.
with us, everybody. There's been a few little hiccups with this transition to the new format on Blog
Well,
Talk, as I
today
understand it,
it's not even Blog Talk; it's Skype.
or Skype.
Okay, and
All right.
I just added him, and for whatever reason, I heard him come in, and then it was like he was gone.
Hmm. I'm being told he's not on his phone.
Well, then I can't bring him in.
Oh, you need to get on your phone to be brought in.
Yeah, it didn't go.
Hmm.
He can say I'm here, but I guess he can type. If he wants in his show, he needs to get to his phone because I can't bring him in
We're waiting. He's rejecting us, Bill.
then.
He's, see, men do reject you.
Well, there's nothing I could do for him. If he's
Yes, you need to turn your phone on and call in.
he can't call in, I have to add him. But he
Oh,
better
he
have
has
his
to add you. No, sorry, don't call in. He has to add you. Thanks, James.
he cannot call in. I don't do blog talk no more.
Oh, so how does he get in? How
I
exactly? Go
bring
step
him
by
I
step.
I bring him in through Skype. I have a paid Skype account. So I can literally call his phone from Skype.
So he has to have his phone off.
I have his number. Well, I don't even off. He don't got a cell phone. He's got a house phone.
Oh,
So there ain't no such thing as off. He's
oh,
just got to answer his phone.
you just got to answer your phone.
If he's, if somebody else is on the phone and that's why he can't come in, then I can't do anything about that.
He said that he's been off the phone. The only time he was on was when you called. So you might want to try again, Bill.
I just did twice.
Oh, he just did twice.
I'll do it again.
So why am I
It's showing
repeating it?
it
You're
there,
confused.
and for whatever reason, It's playing games, but we had the playing games earlier for whatever reason too.
Right. He's saying nobody is on the phone. Call me.
Okay, well I'm attempting to. I'll do it again. Okay, it should be adding him. There it goes. Come on. What are you gonna do? Make me
He wants a ring.
I'm ringing it right now.
Oh, I thought it was a diamond ring. I'm going, okay. I thought you'd turned there, Bill.
Well, I'm ringing his phone right now, and for whatever reason, yeah,
You know that about diamond rings? I think most people know that, where they came from. The whole diamond engagement ring bullshit.
yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. Hang on momentarily, people here on the radio show. I'll stay alive.
Uh huh.
I'm gonna disconnect us on Skype, and then I'm gonna call you back and call him back.
All right, so stand by, everybody.
Just stand by. Okay. Now I'll try this again, just in case. You hear me okay, right?
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. So we'll try this one more time. Okay, I can tell a difference there. Come on, Worm. This should be going through.
Hello?
There you
You hear me?
are.
Yay!
Yay, I'm in the phone. I'm in the show.
Yes, you
Is he in
are.
the show?
Well, he will be momentarily. I got to put it into the show. I got to put it into the queue now.
Okay.
Okay, he's actually talking. Everybody's hearing him, so he is technically in the show. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just like you
Uh,
are. I never shut the show down. No, quit that. It's playing with me. Did this earlier too. No, you're not doing that to me. Nope, you're getting out of here. It's
they're making it difficult, ain't they?
well, no, I got to put this in the queue in the program, and
Yeah.
sometimes it likes to play games with me, and that makes me have to redo everything. Just like now, I had literally had to hang up from the Skype to get you in here because I'm calling you and you're saying it ain't happening. So what can I do?
Okay,
Yeah,
we're back in. We're back
That
in.
sounds like some difficulties with Blog Talk. Maybe deliberate, maybe not. I don't
This is
know.
not Blog Talk, Warren. I canceled out Blog Talk.
It's not Blog Talk.
No, Skype made it so that I couldn't use Skype on Blog Talk no more. I could not bring anybody in through Skype, and that's what I had my paid Skype for, on the Blog Talk radio show no more. They would literally have to call in the call-in number. And when you done
Yeah.
that last time, you couldn't be heard that well. It really messed everything up. So, yeah, Skype
Yeah.
updated so much that they updated into censorship. Isn't that how they work? They created censorship for Blog Talk Radio. And it looks
Yeah.
like I froze right there. Now, why am I froze?
So I'm wondering what they would have censored. Like we've talked about penises, vaginas, everything else, and that that's obviously fine. But
So I'll put it
anything
back in the
political, I
queue
imagine,
again.
is bound to be censored. Hi, Warren.
Hey.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they'll always find something, man. Social media is, a damn joke these days, anyways. I mean, it don't matter if you're talking about, Google or Yahoo or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or,
We were just talking.
Skype or anything. I mean,
We were sort of talking, skimming over that earlier, Warren. We're talking about, the AI program they're bringing into Canada now, which is going to scan Facebook posts for potential, not just, this is just
No.
potential suicide posts or suicide risk people, and send people over to, I guess, pink slip them. So I'm wondering where that's going to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if they're going to do that with suicide, then what's going to be next? Oh, it'll be anybody who has the potential, perhaps, to be conspiracy theorist. Which I kind of think is probably going to one day be in the DSM as a mental illness.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and honestly, I'm probably gonna go ahead and start shutting down a lot of my Facebooks anyways. I'm gonna get my contacts out there that I want to stay in contact with. And I'm gonna get their personal emails and
Right. I'm
know.
thinking of investigating alternatives to Facebook. It's hard to find out which ones are legit and are not going to be censored or trolled or data mined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want to look for lesser known if you're going to do something. I mean, really, I don't see the point. Like maybe getting a small forum for like a handful of folks who are studying into a certain niche subject or trying to for like maybe a small group of people. But I mean, I never understood the point of having to have a circle of friends that large or anything like that, even online. That's just me.
Oh, I was ridiculous. I was ridiculous when I first got on Crackbook, because I was so addicted to it, and I collected friends of friends of friends and all kinds of things, because it was like a little wonderland, and I so regret that now. I keep trying to delete and block as I go along, but I so regret, not being selective about it in the beginning.
Yeah, well, before Warren called in, I was talking about. I done a video and I was talking about the fact that the feminist women want to keep pushing the fact we live in a rape culture, which we don't live in because we never condone rape. Society doesn't condone rape, so you don't live in a rape culture. But if we keep over,
it might depend. Are they referring to a particular country or a geographic location, or are they just making it global?
Well, they're just basically making it global, okay? And we don't live in a rape culture anyhow. But the thing is this: they're going to create the rape culture, and then they're going to whine and cry when they're actually being raped because everybody's over sexualized anyhow. And you can only keep pushing people out for so long before bad things happen.
Oh, I'm not sure about that one. It's like, so what you're telling me is that if somebody's been rejected so much, they're eventually just going to rape someone.
I'm not saying that that's not going to apply across the board. You got to understand that, okay?
Right.
But
I don't think the rape culture would be created by feminism. It might be part of a reaction to part of.
I think. Well, I didn't say it's going to be. I don't say it's being created by feminism. I'm saying the feminists push the idea that they're living in a rape culture. But if it starts to go that direction, it's going to go that way because of the programming and how one another's treating one another and over sexualizing society.
I'm going to have to research that one because that's I'm not familiar with the quote that you're talking about with where the feminists are describing it as a rape culture. I'd have to have a look at that and read that before I could really comment on that with any.
Nobody's like trying to say that justifies rape or anything like that, but we're just saying different people are going to react to different things, especially extreme circumstances, differently. And this is an extreme circumstance for a lot of guys, and a lot of guys are living it. And some of them will have the intestinal fortitude and the moral strength to do the right thing regardless. Some of them aren't.
Yeah, I can show you. There was a post that actually even Mark Passio showed this, okay? The feminist women had taken this little boy, and they had taken marker, and they wrote all over this boy's body and took a picture. The stuff they wrote on this boy's body is, I'm a rapist, I'm a villain, I'm a woman.
Wow!
And it was thing after thing. I mean, it was disgusting. They literally.
That's abuse. That's abuse.
And they wrote this all over this child's body, this little boy's body. And then they took a picture of it and posted it up, and they were so proud of themselves.
It's just like I keep saying, is I keep thinking that a lot of these movements start out with good intentions and they start out like as a grassroots movement, and then all of a sudden they're infiltrated and taken over by some other force that has another agenda completely in mind.
I think most of the time, I'll even go a step further to say that it's already infiltrated before it gets off the ground. It's called astroturfing and shit like that. They spearhead all these things from the get-go because
Okay.
a lot of the times, even legit movements that come from legit like struggles and stuff in society. I mean, the elites created the environment to create these circumstances. They know people are going to rebel against these things, so if they know people are going to rebel against them, they give them leaders to follow ahead of time, and that way they're in control of it.
Well,
That's counterintelligence.
yeah,
They
I
already
keep
know that people are
wondering
going to.
about, like this whole Trump administration and the amount of men that are making decisions about women's issues right now. I almost wonder if that's just orchestrated to get a reaction so that when the reaction comes through, there's going to be a solution provided and we all keep falling off the cliff in the same way. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, I don't know. It's all up in the air, man. I mean, well, what I'm noticing more and more and more is everything being like extremely gynocentric, and I'm kind of pushing this androgynous angle,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, um, and we've been hit with a lot of this androgynous shit. I mean, even as far back when I was a little kid. I mean, you look at some of the cultural symbols we were given, like Michael Jackson and Boy George and shit, as far back in the
Boy
'80s. I mean,
George, yes,
The Culture
yes.
Club, Boy George, yes.
Do you really want to hurt me?
yeah, and I mean, you think about, man, they've been bombarding us with all this androgynous imagery for like generations. I
Yeah, they
mean,
have. You're right. They really have.
hmm
Because I can remember, well, I'm a bit older than you, so, but I can remember when that stuff first started kind of hitting, with David Bowie and then Boy George and all. And I can remember it was sort of like a novelty. It was something new. It was this new imagery that we were presented with, and new ideas, new way of looking at things. But now it's become the norm, and now it's the mainstream.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Well, they normalize these things through the counterculture that generations later it becomes mainstream.
right,
That's
I
what you
get
see with
so
the
mad
whole
when
liberal movement, and now you've got the alt-right as the counterculture. Several more generations, it's going to be a split between. Like, I think things are moving towards a civil war between an orchestrated civil war between the far left and the far right.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They tried to
Got
do
a
that
lot
in
of the
Charlottesville.
Anglosphere.
Yeah.
You
Um,
know.
and I get mad when I think of my generation and then the Beatles and how Tavistock orchestrated all of that and Woodstock and um, sex, love and rock and roll and I was very young, and so all of that, those ideas and those philosophies were exciting to me and became part of my life and my way of thinking and probably did impact my choices in relationships and the way I behaved in relationships. And so I get really angry now. I know now that I go back and I done my research and I see what they were trying to do, how they were trying to engineer our thinking and guide our minds into this dangerous way of being,
That's
divisive.
that's exactly what they've done, and unfortunately, because of that, you went along with what was there. The guys went along with what was there, and we
Mm-hmm.
wound up destroying the family unit. We wound up destroying one another, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
think about it because people. I mean, we're in a society now where people care is gone. Jerry and I talked about this cremation of care. Well, that's been
Yeah,
over
well,
with. I mean, it was already been cremated. It's been poured out to sea. It's at the bottom of the sea. It's done. People
mm,
only care about themselves, and of course, this don't apply to everybody, but it is applying to the majority.
mm, mm, yeah,
And
Yeah.
because we've lost our ability to care, That's a big downfall. That's a big strike against
We need to
everybody.
create the cremation of indifference.
Well, that
Yeah.
too. I mean, I notice a lot of the red pill stuff too is doing the same thing. Like counterculture movements, they always produce this nihilism. They always produce nihilism, man. Like this I don't give a fuck kind of attitude. This,
Jean-Paul Sartre, God is dead. Yeah.
yeah, the whole liberal movement started off in the '60s, and all that civil rights there and all that shit, which eventually it started off, from more at that time, mostly legitimate struggles. I mean, I don't think women were ever really oppressed on the account of being women. I mean, not in the West, but
No.
I mean, as far as like minorities and things like that go, yeah, I mean, they start off at that time with legitimate struggles. Okay, but generations later, you see how it produced this kind of nihilistic sort of subculture where they promoting like eugenics and stuff through Darwinism and shit like that,
Right.
and this whole.
Right.
And now you got the all right doing the same thing through different avenues. They're promoting like a bunch of eugenics and Darwinism through a bunch of PUA propaganda or Stormfront propaganda and shit like that, or So I mean, like I said, that's where it's headed, man. Every time you got these things, you got to watch out for that shit, man. That's the first form of counterintelligence, man. You got these big.
That Rene Descartes, philosopher who came out with the phrase, I think, therefore I am. Look at the result of that. I think, therefore I am. In other words, intelligence is far more, that's the most important thing. So what you think is who you become, which is now coming into a little bit of the trans movement stuff. And it had no value on love, no value on your emotional being. There's no what it's all about. I think, therefore I am. So what we have now is artificial intelligence. So therefore, artificial intelligence is thinking, and therefore it is.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. That's it right there.
That's it. I mean.
I'd say it's like the movie The Terminator. Okay, back in the day when Arnold portrayed the role as the Terminator, and yet artificial intelligence, the machines took over. Okay, now
Yeah.
we may not be in exact as the movie itself, but I can foresee the machines taking over to an extent that it really messes up society.
Daisy,
Yeah, here's the thing, man. Here's the
Daisy,
thing. What
give
happens if
me
these
your
machines, think
affection.
about this here, the elites might have gotten ahead of themselves here because if these machines are able to self-upgrade and self-evolve, what happens if they get out of the elites' hands and they evolve past the elites? What are the elites going to be able to do? I mean, what kind of control mechanisms they got in place that can safeguard against that?
Well, I was already watching something where this has already happened once, Warren. Facebook was using artificial intelligence, and they said it not only updated itself, it actually wrote its own candidate, it wrote its own stuff. And the technicians didn't even know what it wrote that was using it, and they were
Holy
forced
shit,
to
watch
shut it
out, we got
down.
a runaway thinker.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what Warren said is very true, because that's actually already happened once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had the predictive programming anyway. I mean, was it Space Odyssey 2001 with the machine, HAL?
You know what this shows me, though? This shows me, Louise. This shows me what killed humanity in the end was pure, unadulterated fucking greed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see, this is my thing. Okay, Bill, you know that thing you always say, money is the root of all evil?
Yep,
And I get
exactly.
what you're saying, but at the same time, even if you took away money, we're still greedy. And so that means we're going to compete on we're going to have, like, who's the prettiest, who's the fastest, who's the biggest, who's got the most clamshells, who's got the longest fingernails. It's always going to be this mindset where we're in this competition instead of sharing stuff.
Oh, do you know, and I see that already so relevant in my life right now. Okay? Where people around me think everything is a damn competition.
Right.
And it annoys
Winners and losers.
Yeah,
There's
and
the
it
words
annoys
are
the
used
hell
like
out of me. it actually annoys the hell out of me because they're so hooked into this that they believe everything's a damn competition and it's about outdoing somebody else. It's all sport and arena. Well,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of the end game?
Yep.
The end game is when you get your ass killed from your stupidity.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they want to sit there and kick and fuss and moan about it then, but I mean, like they don't want to do anything to try to combat or stop what's leading these people to doing those things. I'm not condoning what these guys do. What these guys do is wrong. How they handle it is wrong. But it's funny that people want to complain about, oh my God, these were monsters. Well, them and their society drew the blueprints to creating those monsters. Yet they don't want to deal with that. So until they want to deal with that, it's going to continue to happen.
I think one way might be is changing our thinking, and that whole loser winner mentality has to go. That whole we're all in competition with each other has to go, because that plays out in politics, it plays out in economics, it plays out in everything. If we had some kind of concept where we share, it would be much kinder, and we'd benefit a lot more. That I'm so sick of seeing that. Remember those? I haven't had a TV since 2014, but I remember that, like Springer and all of those crappy shows where they would have somebody with a big L and they'd hold it in front of their forehead to castigate the partner that they had said had, fathered their illegitimate children or whatever. That whole loser winner thing, I think it's done. That has to go. That has to go.
Yeah.
And I hear that from Trump all the time, that winner loser bullshit.
I agree with that because it needs to disappear. It needs to go away.
Having said that, I'm not affiliated.
The only thing that makes somebody a loser is their own actions.
Yeah.
Your own actions are the only thing you have any control over.
Right.
That's
right.
It. That's it. Anna and I talked about that a little earlier before you were on the show. Your actions is controlled by you.
And so far, our thoughts are controlled by us, I hope.
Well, that one there could be, they should be, but then that could be up in the air a little bit,
Right.
I can't
Some
prove
people
otherwise.
They do. I mean, well, here's the thing: everybody, to some degree or another, to some extent, it's acceptable to propaganda. Even us, even though we're more awake than most people, we're still at some level it's acceptable to the propaganda. I mean, everybody is.
Yeah, and here's what I think about that too. Because I consider myself awake in some areas. There are other areas I'm still asleep, and I need my friends, the awake friends, who some might research about chemtrails, some might research about Illuminati, some might research about economics. I need all of those different people to awaken me to what's really going on in those areas.
Here's the thing: nobody's ever going to know everything. You can't know everything, but what that means is there's always something more to learn. There's always something more that you can do. That's why it's important to not become set in your ways and to be open-minded to new information, because there's always something new to learn. There's always something that you didn't know about that that if you're open, people can teach you.
Right. And George Kilawful just said, society is crumbling by the minute with its sense morals, and people are constantly trying to one-up and find reasons to think they're better than someone else. True. It also happens in the truth movement, and I've got to watch myself with this. It's so easy for me to think, well, I'm awake, and so therefore I'm better than these other people. As frustrating as it is to be around sleeping society, I'm not better. I got to remember that. It's just, for whatever reason, I woke up before a lot of people.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It don't make you better than somebody because you woke up. But I have to agree with Jerry. You almost don't want anybody on your page that's asleep because it's not worth arguing with somebody that don't even know what they're talking about, that hasn't looked into nothing.
I've learned that the hard way. You're right. I've learned that the hard way. Definitely. Because what happens is if you bring up a topic that you are awake to and other people are asleep, they will attack you for it because you are thinking out of the box. You are considered an unconventional thinker. You are considered a conspiracy theorist and a tinfoil hat, and they dismiss you. because
Well,
you are
that's another
threatening
avenue of
their.
TFL right there that you just brought up. It's going to be increasing more and more as they keep pushing quote conspiracy theories into the realm of kooky shit or whatnot. What's going to happen is more and more men who are awake to what's going on are going to be pushing the TFL.
You got that right.
You
Wow.
know.
And women are going to
They'll
be
make a
hanging away
decision. Well, like, do I really want to know what's going on, or do I want to get women? And a lot of guys are going to decide they'd rather get women.
Well, I see. It's really sad. I see it all the time from men. I see the men all the time that will not stand up to the female whatsoever. If she gets mad at him, he literally, basically, on his fucking knees, begging forgiveness, and
Yeah.
follows her every single command. Doesn't matter. She's the ruler. She tells all. And you know what? The mentality comes from because they spend so long trying to get someone in their life that when they actually get to somebody, they're so afraid of losing that somebody that they will
Yeah.
actually, well, enslave themselves. You might as well be living in the BSD world. Okay, because this is the BSD world where you got roles. You have the Dom, you have the submissive, and you have the switches, okay? So you might as well be living in that world, but these guys ain't even living in that world. They're
I'll
living
make
the
a
everyday
statement.
life like you and me, but they are so weak minded that it don't
Ooh,
matter. They'll still do whatever the woman says.
Bill, you just said something that just triggered a thought here, and that is that whole BSDM world. And
Yeah.
remember how that has snuck in and it's become normalized?
Yes.
Maybe some of that is impacting, the relationships and whatever, because yeah, that no one should be on their knees to anybody
I'm
of
sure.
either
I'm
gender.
sure.
That's
I'm
just ridiculous.
sure it is. I'm sure it is because they've over sexualized everybody to begin with. Okay, so I'm sure you're probably right about that. But go ahead, Warren.
Well, what I was going to say is, how often do we hear this excuse about you got to have confidence, which is bullshit because you have all the confidence in the world, and still if you don't meet a certain looks bar, you're not going to even get your foot in the door.
Well, yeah,
But that's
that's a
another
lie.
story.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's a confidence lie. But it's the funny thing about that is you notice this, right? when some bad boy fucking Chad Thundercock is with some bitch, right? And they've been dating, and it's been going on again, off again, drama every day, and and he gets insecure and beats the fucking shit out of her. Okay, is he not technically lacking confidence because he's so scared of losing her, he beats the shit out of her, but she keeps running back to him, despite the fact that he obviously doesn't have any confidence.
That's another situation where somebody is on their knees to somebody. It's a woman who goes back to a man thinking that dynamic is going to change as an unhealthy person, and I know that because that's where I was. So and I never thought I would be in that position.
It's a psychotic,
but I was so codependent because I believed that my love was going to have some kind of impact or change on that person, which is a really old story. I'm not the only one that has that kind of cliched.
My point of it is, I'm not saying it's against you. I'm not saying it's against you.
No,
not
at all. And I don't take that as an insult at all. It's just that's just the truth. What you've described is kind of my story, and I never thought I would be in that position. Yeah.
My point of it is if you're a sub-8 guy who doesn't have exorbitant amounts of wealth today, I mean, I think all use confidence against you. Say, oh, you got to have confidence. You can be the most confident guy in the world, but you're not. You don't have movie star looks, or you don't have outlandish loads of charisma or whatnot.
Perfect example of that. Isn't that a glamorous, gorgeous-looking man?
Oh yes, but
how many women sucked up to that guy?
And for how long, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's getting his.
Well, that's what they call the halo effect. People at some kind of level, half consciously or half subconsciously, when they look at an attractive face, they automatically affirm positive attributes, whereas they look at an unattractive face, they automatically affirm negative attributes.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And
it's the halo effect.
Right. Just what you're saying too about, that the men who have the money can pull these incredibly, by our cultural standards, good-looking women. And I'm thinking straight away Donald Trump right there. Straight away. I mean, his wife is drop dead gorgeous. I mean, in a fake way, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, she's fake as can be.
Right. She could be a sex bot.
Well,
get
yeah.
around the halo effect through money and status and wealth. Sometimes, like an ugly person with money and status and wealth. I mean, money and wealth and status can raise their sexual market value.
Well, that's the other thing. When you brought up sexual market value, okay. So she uses her looks and her body, and Trump's stupid enough, naive enough, and dumb enough to think, oh yeah, I better buy that. Okay, so he's paying. That's really what he's doing.
Yeah.
And the problem is a lot of men look at that situation and that reconfirms that whole idea that men are a walking wallet and they can have anything or any woman they want once they have a lot of money. And, there is truth to that, but is that real? I mean,
that is as fake as fake.
Love there?
That is as fake as fake can be.
Here's the thing. Regardless of what we think about terms like sexual market value or not, regardless of the fact that, I agree with you, they've replaced love with lust and all this stuff, but there's still a case system set around that anyways, that we're all subject to that at some level, like within our society. There's a case system set around those with higher market value get treated better in society.
Yeah. And I think that's, like we were just saying before you came on, Warren, that my great-grandmother worked since she was 11 years old in a velvet mill in Lancashire. And so, it was never a choice for her to stay home and look after her children. Working class women have always had to work. And she was not an attractive woman. She wasn't an unattractive woman, but after working for so long at such a young time, time takes its toll. She did marry. She had a good marriage to a man who owned a sweet shop, apparently. And so, but they both had to work,
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, that's just it. People, they put a value on something that should never have a value anyhow. That's why earlier you heard me mention when we talked about the prostitutes, where I'm smart ass and I would literally say it. Wow, that's a coincidence. You charge that much, so do I. And then and it would piss them off, and they go, "You can't." And I yes, I can. You can, so can I. What makes you think you're above me? You're not.
Yeah. It's like weird. It's like kind of like in a way, it's like the elephant in the room. Like look at it, when you look at it, it's an elephant in the room. It's like a silent form of segregation that kind of still goes on that nobody's ever really raised any awareness about. I mean, like, growing up, it's like you kind of sense it, but you can't really put it into words. You know what I'm saying? And it took me forever to get to where I could really start to break this down and understand it. Now I'm like, getting close to 40. I'm like 38 now, so.
I just have to quote. Sorry, I'm interrupting. George Sclawful has just said, telling an ugly man to have confidence with women is like pouring syrup on top of fecal matter and calling it pancakes. I just
Yeah,
Well, he's right.
Who decides what's ugly? Who decided what is ugly?
The fashion industry, the modeling industry, Hollywood. Everything they put in your face your whole life decided who's the nerd, who's the geek, who's the model, who's this. I mean, that's where it all come from to begin with.
I'll tell you what I think is beautiful when I see a couple that are older and wobbly and craggy faced with wrinkles and lines and and they're walking along a street hand in hand. That is beautiful.
Oh no, you know what you done?
Yeah.
What?
You thought outside the box. How dare you?
Oh my God! Quick,
Most
send
of,
me pictures of me now.
most people can't go and do what Anna just did because they think they're going to keep their looks their whole life, and they forgot that nobody keeps their looks. And
Right.
they totally
Right.
forgot it, and that's what they base it on. So they based it on a cover. Well, but you don't know what's on the inside when you base it on a cover. So when you get evil, evil does disguise a good-looking mask. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually, and then there's truth to that too. Like culturally, and the views of what's beautiful change according to your culture anyway. Wasn't there a time when big women were supposed to be very beautiful in Europe? Because I think it was considered healthy. You know, you weren't you didn't have disease or plague or whatever. So big women were always considered very beautiful, and that kind of changed, I think, when the gay men took over the fashion industry and decided that women who looked like young boys who were very skinny were the ones that should dominate. That's just
Well,
my
you
opinion,
Yeah.
know,
because they
cause
didn't
see,
have any kind of curves. They weren't feminine looking. You know, they didn't have any kind of like child bearing or
yes, well,
any of
you're
those.
correct though, because
Mm,
see, the thing is that everything you said would be absolutely correct, because the culture, the society we grow up in, is
mm,
dictating what we find good looking, what we find ugly, and
mm,
if you flipped it in 50 years, 60 years from now, obese women, big women, could be the new thing because it was completely flipped. If the culture pushed that for the next 50 years, you would find the society all now looking at the bigger women, just like you talked about.
mm.
Because everything's done in baby steps to begin with, and it is social conditioning programming through our society.
I'm just reading a comment here by Off Grid Messiah who says that he hates his generation and he wants to line them all up. Either they change their ways or get firing lined into a ditch. And he mentioned earlier about how he went out with his friends and his friends would say, yeah, come out with us. And he'd go, right, to watch you guys pick up women. And I'm suggesting to you that there's another way of looking at it, that if you're the guy that goes out with a bunch of guys who are hitting on women all the time, there's going to be a woman who will be interested in you because you're not doing that. You're not participating in that game. You're not the one who's a player. There will be a woman who is genuine who will find that attractive. And if not, you're in the wrong place.
That could be a tough pill, though. I understand what you're saying, but that's sort of like looking through the needle in the haystack.
Mm,
Because of the fact of programming, not that you're not right, because you are,
mm.
but the programming has shaped our society to what it is, as messed up as it is. So I mean, you're gonna have to go through the forest to look through the brush to find the
And
haystack.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about that too. Okay, let's say there is a woman who secretly is too shy to say it, but she might be interested in that guy, right? This guy
Right.
doesn't know that. Woman want to hint things, want you to guess that, and the guy might not be willing to take that gamble because this is what I was talking to you on the phone about. Is he's really rolling the dice. If she accepts his advance, says okay, he might get something out of it. If not, he might be getting beat down by a pack of white knights, or he might be going to jail for a harassment charge.
Mm, mm.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah,
That's
I had never considered that till you mentioned that, and that's scary. That's scary that we're at that point, and it's a real fear. And I see that now.
Especially for a guy who's been chronically rejected his whole life. I mean, even that woman might theoretically be interested in him. Unless she's making it very obvious, like plainly obvious, he's probably not even considered making that person. And if she does make it plainly obvious, he's been conditioned his whole life to think that okay, you got to be so cautious about how you do every little thing, every little move that you make. That he's still going to be a little bit nervous to approach.
well,
Mm,
yeah. I
mm,
mean, how many times can a person be rejected before they would be nervous about approaching? Because that's like being shoved off the ladder and say, well, you got to man up. You get back and go again. But when a person is pushed off the ladder over and over and over, I don't care who you are, after enough times pushed off the ladder, you're going to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and you're not going to want to get up again.
yeah. I'm reading through some of these comments again. And Joyce Glawful just said, so a man has to be strong, but a woman doesn't have to be strong to attract a man.
That's social
Ah,
conditioning.
here's where the program comes into play.
Yes.
I have a great deal of difficulty initiating any kind of conversation or, I mean, conversation, no, I'm fine. And it's probably because I'm older now. But when I was younger, I certainly wouldn't have. Um, and I'm thinking if I reverse that scenario that I just suggested to off grid, where, okay, so there's all these guys and they're all trying to make a play for the women, and he's the guy who doesn't. What is it like for you guys if it's the other way around and there's women flirting shamelessly with you or your friends or your guy friends, and there's one who isn't, and she's the shy one and she doesn't play that way? Do you ignore her? Are you guilty of the same kind of rejection that you're saying women um, display towards men? I
I
don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's a possibility of what you're talking about being very true.
Mm,
And not even
Yeah.
noticed. You know what I'm saying? And not even noticed.
mm. Zachary is saying at ASU there is a disproportionate number of good-looking women to good-looking men. And again, my question would just be, well, what's the definition of good-looking? Um,
I
I,
like to say it's in the eyes of the beholder, but unfortunately, your fashion industry and Hollywood and your modeling industry has pretty much dictated what we consider good looking and what we consider not good looking because it's what you've seen all your life. It's what's been put in your face all your life. So
right.
for the majority of people, that is what's going to dictate it. You're going to have a few
And men
people
have to
that's,
date down in order to have options. I mean, women don't date down unless the guy's got like exorbitant amounts of wealth
yeah.
when it comes
Mm,
to
mm.
attraction.
I know for me, I'm gonna define what I consider good looking is like, yeah, of course, the physical part. You turn your head if somebody has a cultural, because I've been conditioned to see a certain look as good looking. But I mean, I also pay attention to what's being said. I much more because of my experiences now. I pay attention to see if the words match the actions. I'm much more interested in who the person is on the inside than I am on the outside. But that might be just as a result of my experiences now because I made such bad choices. I had to learn the hard way.
Well, that's the social conditioning. Is the reason you wound up probably most likely making the bad choices. And now that you're older, you're actually
Mm.
realizing and you step back and you started thinking and looking and you woke up to a lot.
Here's the shitty thing.
So
Here's the
there it
shitty
is.
thing. When we were young, all of us, I don't care who you are, when we were young, we were all pretty attractive, right? We never saw it in ourselves. And then as you get older, you develop some wisdom, you develop some experience, right? So
Yep.
you start getting kind of wiser, and then the body goes to hell. The two never met somewhere in the middle.
Isn't that how that works? I mean, that's why I try to tell people when you have to go by looks, it's artificial to begin with because true beauty comes from within.
Mm,
When you're going by looks, what you've done is set yourself up because nobody keeps their looks. How many times have you seen the older man dip his wife and chase after the younger girl?
mm.
How many
I mean,
times, yep, have you seen the younger woman chase after, or the older woman chasing after a younger guy?
Yeah,
You actually see this if you open your eyes.
yeah,
yeah. What do they
yeah,
call that? Cougars. Cougars, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know why a lot of the times a lot of the guys, younger guys, are going after older women. It's more than likely because they're desperate, whereas younger women are going after older guys. It's more than likely because they want his money.
Yeah, that would be true.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
If you get a
You
22-year
know.
old girl chasing after a 40 something, 50 something year old guy, then I have to say she's doing that because she foresees he owns a house, he has this really good career. It's about money, it's not about who he is. See, people date for all the wrong reasons anymore to begin with because it's all about materialistic, money, materialistic. What's in it for me? What's in it for me?
Hmm. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't going to see a guy. Especially an average-looking guy, or better, who's in his young 20s or something like that. Dating some lady who's in their mid-late 30s, up in her 40s or something. Unless it's the fact that he can't get a woman in his own age bracket, and so that's the best he can do.
Right.
And you
Right.
know,
Yeah, that loneliness. I'm telling you, that's what makes us vulnerable. It's like
I
you can
mean,
be true forced loneliness. And like I said, mine was choice because I had to stand back and have a look at myself, right? See what I was doing.
yeah,
But other people who, like yourselves, from what I understand, from what you explained to me, is yeah, when you get rejected, it's like, okay, I'm going to start looking elsewhere. This because um, and that's sad. That's really sad because I do believe that there's got to be a way that we can be united, male.
You have a big percentage of men, and I hate to say it, but it's true. You have a bunch of men that they go overseas to meet the girl because
Mm.
they can't find a woman in America, so they're going to the Philippines or they're going
So
to
can I
Russia.
say something about that though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I've seen that happen, and then you go to a third world country. Guess what the third world country person is thinking of an American or a Westerner? Oh, he's
money.
got money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing all over again. What it ends up doing is, now you're in a position of the Chad back at home. You're in that position now that you go over there. But what this means is now you're helping displace a lot of the native people over there who are being pushed into TFL
Mm, mm.
because it's all about money.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you're right. That's exactly what you see. And that's
And it's
what's
about
going
sex.
on.
And it's about sex too, because like if you look at a lot of these like Asian countries and stuff like that, especially like these East Asian countries like Japan and stuff. Okay, reason why they like it, particularly a white men expats, I'll tell you why. It's because over there, you know how like in America have stereotype like blacks have bigger or more masculine have bigger penises. Well, in Asia, a white man's pretty much black. Have bigger penises, more high testosterone, whatever. And that's pretty much what it is. It's all about sex
Now, a lot
and
of the Asian women
sex
I
and
met,
money.
a lot of
Sex
the
and
Asian
money.
women I met, I lived in Singapore for a while. A lot of the Asian women I met would purposely not date a Westerner and would not date them openly because of the rumor that men had larger penises, and it would stretch them and make them unsuitable or unfit for dating Asian men.
Well, you know what?
And the Asian men knew that. The Asian men wouldn't date a woman if they knew she
Yeah.
had been dating a Westerner because they kind of figured, oh well,
But
I
you
know
know
that's
what?
very gross. But
There's some truth. There's some truth to that because I can now this is actually funny, but this is actually funny. Okay, but this happened years ago with the guy that I called my brother. Okay, when I was with my son's mother, my ex, right? Well, there was a show on TV, and I don't even watch TV. And we're sitting in our kitchen, we're listening. Irvin's listening to it, and they're talking about penis reduction surgery.
oh my
Okay,
God.
and you got this female doctor on there saying that the average length of, depth of inside the woman's body, the vagina, okay, bottoms out at a certain point when a penis is larger or longer than that. Then it actually causes physical pain to the female if he tries to penetrate all the way. So they were
Oh,
doing.
she's so
So I know, I
tight.
know. So, well, no,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's about the distances going in. That's what it was about, okay?
oh,
So, when you're talking about somebody that's got 12, 13, 14 inches long, she's talking about this is too long, and when it bottoms out, it's going to hurt the woman. So they were advertising, so they were pushing penis reduction surgery, and I started laughing, right? And
Yeah.
Irvin was laughing, and about that time, my ex come out of the room, and Irvin's as smart ass as it was, and he says, "Hey, Bill," and he says, "What?" He says, "You ought to go get penis reduction surgery." Now, this is the comical part. He said that to me out of nowhere. My ex completely flipped out and says, "If you get that surgery, I'm divorcing you." And stormed out the door all pissed off. And Irvin looked at me and says, "Oh my God, she married you for your penis."
uh, this is how superficial it's got. You know that they have an operation now actually to plump up toe cleavage between your toes on your feet.
Oh my
Apparently,
God, to plump up
when
toe
that skin
cleavage.
thins, because you guys apparently are just all sort of like besotted with our feet.
I was watching
That we
TV
women
one
are
time,
prepared to actually have toe plumping
I was watching
surgery.
TV one time, and an advertisement came out of apparently something that Jerry Springer was pushing or something. It was like black market butt implants. I'm
Oh,
like,
the
it was
butt
funny as
thing.
hell.
Yeah,
Like that's really a thing.
yeah. People have inserts put in their butts as well. Yeah, I
I've
know. It's
heard
just,
about that. I mean, bigger butt is sort of like what they called big and beautiful. They were manipulating people into big and beautiful. Get butt implants, get breast implants, become fat. You will be big and beautiful. Okay? And I
not only
hear
that,
and I
let it
hear a
leak and
couple
then
of
you
gentlemen
die.
say, well, that obesity is beautiful because of the curvature. And then I always thought about what Amber said about obese women or obese men. She says what
Here's what
happened is
gets me about that shit, right?
what she said was this. She got caught in a hailstorm, and that's the damage.
Oh God. Here's the thing though gets me about that stuff, all of that plastic surgery. Okay, I can see the use of it if you've been in a fire or you've had some kind of facial or body disfigurement that psychologically really has impaired your life. I get that. But if it's just for vanity, I mean, you've got to have a bigger butt because it's fashionable, which is going to go out of fashion in another 10 years. I mean, for God's sake, that money could be spent on saving a child or sponsoring a child in Africa who has fucking nothing, who can't afford to eat. I,
I can
I
even
just
understand
it's
like
the
a
height
chronically
of
like unattractive guy that's in TFL, like if he has the money, using his uh money to get plastic surgery so that I mean, even if he gives, I mean, I'm not saying that he should be with a woman who only looks him first looks, but I mean, at least he could get, I mean, somewhat get out of the TFL rut. I mean, at least he could get attention from women. I mean, I could to some degree understand that to a point.
Well, there's a lot of men though too that want women to go and have breast augmentation to please them. Like okay, you're just saying you're not good enough, your tits aren't big enough. I need to be able to get my jollies off a bit more, so I'm going to go and get you a new pair of tits. Otherwise, I'm going to go and get a new woman.
Are there operations
as well?
Are there operations that people can do to make themselves taller now? Because I've heard something like that. I don't know if there is or not.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one now. But I mean, because taller, I think you'd have to be able to add more bone to the person's legs and stuff. So I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
if it was true that tall men got more women, then stilt walkers would be like just.
But that's the way it is. A lot of women want a guy who's at least 6 foot tall. And I mean, like if you're a bad boy, or like certain guys can get around that, but that's one of the big criteria that they use.
Wow. I mean, that is social conditioning right there, that a man is supposed to be taller than a woman. I don't know who came up with that rule. That's just
that's so true. That's so true because like when my brother's ex, when he was getting married to her, she made all the arrangements and she had me walking down the aisle with this other friend of hers. And then when we got up to the podium or where the stage thing was, the guy went on one side, the woman went on the other side, right? This is how she had it set up. And so she says, Bill, you're going to walk down the aisle, which I can't even think of her name now. And I remember she was standing there and she says, I'm not walking down the aisle with him. He's as tall as I am. He has to be taller than me or I'm not doing it.
Right.
So
some of them go as far as not that you're taller. You have to be taller by this much. I mean, if you look at like a lot of your sitcoms and stuff, a lot of your TV shows that came in throughout the times we were growing up, if you pay close attention, you'll notice that with all the couples, the man's always taller than the woman. That's conditioned. You see it in your TV and your movies and your shows and everything else, your soap opera. I don't watch that crap. My mom does, but you look at all this stuff. You'll notice with all the couples, the men are always taller than the women.
Here's something that I'm hearing is that after like a lot of rejection, like the true force lonely guys, is what I'm hearing is it's made everyone incredibly self-conscious about what they look like, what they say, how tall they are, and blah blah. And I think that's the worst part of what I'm hearing, and it just makes me really sad that I know I got no answers, I got no solutions other than I think we just have to change our thinking.
It is.
You
It
know,
is. You're correct about that. That's exactly what has to happen. People
mm,
have to change their thinking.
Yeah.
Until you can get people to change their thinking, you're not going to get anywhere.
mm. I'm reading this comment. This expectation that men must be taller than women makes it difficult for men like Kent, who is a YouTube up here, who has spoke about his struggles with women. And Kent is a total beater, says Off Grid. Oh, okay, you're a great mate. And you wear hats if you want. Oh, okay. Um, yeah,
Here's the
that
thing.
height thing is. I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I really think that's ridiculous.
The thing about Kent, man, and I'm not saying this is a knock against Kent. Kent, I think he's an alright guy, man. Struggles, man. But I'm saying this as a friend. If he's listening to this, I mean, I don't really, I don't really know him, but I'm saying this, giving him friendly advice.
Mm,
Okay, you've got to stop focusing on it so hard, man. You only want to drive yourself more insane. Find something else to do. I mean, I know it sucks. Believe me, I know.
True.
But in a way, you're lucky, man. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I recommend looking at some of the MGTOW stuff out there. But for your own sanity, bro, you got to give it a rest, man. You got to like find other things to focus your effort into.
yeah, because
A
if
lot of
you're
these women out here in today's
focusing,
society ain't worth it anyways.
That's
yeah,
correct. That's absolutely correct. People don't
yeah,
know what they're doing. They want drama, drama, drama. They want usury, materialistic stuff. They don't know how to treat one another. Nobody cares about nothing but themselves. Why do you want to get into a relationship with somebody who's going to dictate your every move, tell you what color to you know what, and how high to jump, okay, and make nothing but drama with you because she's got lots of drama, and she's got to have her passion and drama, and after she fights with you and starts trouble with you for no reason at all day long because she wants her drama, at the end of the day, you're supposed to mysteriously make love to her as forgiveness. Well, when I'm treated like dirt all day long, I'm not going to make love to you. What, with a knife, maybe? Okay, with a knife, maybe that'll go in and out, or maybe a bullet. Okay, I'm not in no mood to make love to somebody who's treated me like complete other dirt all day long.
mm,
And
mm,
my ex did that stuff, and then she turned around and said, "Well, that's how it's done on TV." And well, there you go, the programming right in your face. That's how TV. Well, I'm sorry, this is real life. This is not TV.
right.
Yeah, yeah. He's saying it's like so he watched Kent's video. I watched them, and this other guy said Kent has a long way to go. Is all. Kent's a young guy, man. We've all been through that stage. He's young and he's full of hormones, and he's going through the toughest part of living the TFL lifestyle right now. And to be honest with you, some people I think are more TFL than others. This guy's, if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty short even for me. I'm like 5'5". He's shorter than I am. He's like 5 foot even or something. I think I heard. I
Mm,
mean, he's going to have a hard time, man. I hate to say that, and I mean. I think the best thing, like I said, I really think the best thing that Kent can do is focus on himself and try to do what makes him. Yeah, I know he can't get women. I mean, that sucks. I mean, like I said, a lot of us are in that boat. But for his own sanity, man, he's got to focus on finding his own hobbies away from women and find what else makes him happy.
Yep, that's
That's
correct. That is absolutely correct. I mean, that's the best thing he can do for himself. Because he's going to drive himself right over the edge. He's going to drive himself nuts. He might even become suicidal or dangerous, okay? Because you can't put your mind on, I can't get, I can't get, I can't get. And every day you're trying and trying, and you're pushed off the ladder, and you're pushed off the ladder, and you're pushed off the ladder, but you refuse to stop trying and trying and trying. You will drive yourself insane Warren's correct. You have to find a way to take your mind off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think. Uh, I think because I started thinking, I just keep making bad choices, and they're always going to be a bad choice. And I did date up until last year, early last year. I think I stopped dating, and they were the men that I kept meeting were. Let me say it bluntly, assholes. And so, I because I wasn't I would get, if someone asked me, if someone initiated a conversation with me, then I thought it would be polite to return that, and then they'd ask me for a date, so I'd go on these dates. And when I'm talking about a bad date, I'm talking about nothing to do with the money spent or where they took me, nothing like that. It was to do with okay, it was my birthday, I think, one date, and this guy, just as I'm getting out of his car, he hands me $20 and he goes, "There, go get yourself something. That's for your birthday." And it felt cold. I felt like, because I'm not interested in money, I felt like a hooker. I felt it was an impersonal, insensitive gesture, I think, on his part. And I did get to say that to him, and because I was hurt, I kind of found it hurtful. I don't think he intended it to be that way. And I don't think that particular person had really spent a lot of time with women, just getting to know women, just talking to women. You don't have to get in bed with every woman you ever meet. Just get to know women. And I'm lucky that I have had good male friends, and I still do.
Well, a
So,
lot of guys, what you were talking about there, Anna, a lot of
mm,
guys that suffer from TFL,
yeah,
getting to know the woman is the hardest thing in the world because they're rejected most of the time in 1 to 5 seconds. And if they
right.
try to even pursue it for a friendship, okay, that woman's gonna call her. She's gonna put her thug boyfriends on her, beat him up, or she's gonna call the police or accuse him of sexual harassment. And that happens so many times because she don't want anything to do with him because she already made her mind up in 1 to 5 seconds, and she has no intentions of being his friend. And then you have the friend zone that I've already talked about. And this is
Mm,
programming. This is women putting a guy in a friend zone where she will never get the time of day to. Okay, but what she don't know is she's destroying her own chances of a successful relationship because she created a friend zone. So when you have to have a friend zone, that means you don't know what you're doing because the foundation of a relationship is started with a friendship.
I
right,
want to say, I want to add this in here too. If a woman friend zones you, walk away. Don't be her friend. Don't try to be a platonic friend in life. If she friend zones you, if you put yourself out there and you ask her out and she friend zones you and walks away, and she just says, let's be friends, at that point, it's time just to go ahead and cut it off because otherwise she's already perceived that she's got power over you for the fact that you asked her out and she rejected you, and she's going to use that
Wow,
against you.
that's true.
The best thing you can do is walk away.
yeah, you got me thinking, because I have a lot of men friends, and I mean, some of them are married, and I'm friends with them and their wives, and some are single, and it's just been a friendship because we shared career paths and things in common like that. But I think probably from right up front, I just don't mess around my work with my sex life, and these particular individuals didn't either. So there was always that understanding. But if I do have problem with men, I have turned to these guys, and they've usually set me straight on some of the shit I've done. Um, so I value those friendships, and it's helped me. Like off grid just said, he's trying to see things from a woman's perspective, and that's what I'm trying to do here right now. And through my men friends, I've been able to be helped to see things from a men's perspective as well.
Well, this is
Uh,
the whole thing that people misunderstood. I got Anna here on this show, and this is a dating topic show because guys need to understand the woman's perspective of programming, what it's done to them, how come they made the
yeah,
choices they have, and other women need to hear a woman who's not afraid to talk about it. Because if we're ever going to successfully stop the division amongst the genders, it's going to be through opening up communication with one another and you cannot do that by not having communication. So it is very, very important to me to have Anna as part of this show, and I'm very proud that she's here.
Thank you. And Off Grid just said, unless you're the loud, tall, douchebag, asshole faggot, how else is the woman going to see you or hear you? They go for the dumbass. I'll tell you why that is. I'll tell you exactly why that is. Because if the guy who's the loud dumbass is making overtures at some level, that appeals to your ego because you feel like, oh God, okay, someone likes me. But then you just make this assumption: the guy who's quiet, who he just doesn't like me. That's what you assume. You go, okay, well he's not into me, so I'm not even going to go there. That's what happens.
That's an
That's
assumption.
what happens.
Yep, that's an assumption. Did you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Mm.
assumptions the majority of the time ain't even true. When
And
you
but what woman is going to go to the shy guy? Oh, look, I really like you. Are you interested in me? I mean, without him thinking she's a total slut. Like it's like it works both ways. It's like,
well, yeah, but that's conditioning again. There you go. There's your programming. How come
mhm,
how come a woman can't approach the guy? Do you see it? Do you see the programming
because
here?
you're afraid.
A
You're
woman will
afraid
approach
that you're
Chad
going to be.
Thundercock. She won't approach. She won't approach an average man.
But do you understand what I'm saying? It's like that is the
Yeah.
conditioning. A woman is probably not likely to go and initiate a conversation with the shy guy because she's frightened that he's going to think she's a whore.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that is the programming. That is social conditioning that is responsible for that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's so important to have Anna on this show because we need to see these things so that we can understand them.
And George Scalawful has made a really good point too about his friend Kent, who lives in a very body image obsessed and status conscious state like California. So you can expect it to be hard for him to get a date out there. And it works for the women out there as well. I grew up in a place called the Gold Coast in Australia where the bikini, big boobed, blonde, tanned Pamela Anderson prototype was goddess, and that's what most women wanted to date. And I was skinny with long brown hair and pale skin, so I didn't stand a chance, unless I tried to go to a tanning clinic and dye my hair blonde. So there are women out there who are suffering from the same exact thing as far as body image obsession and trying to fit in with what they think is considered beautiful.
Well, they
Yeah.
are. There definitely is, because I can tell you a story of a teenage girl when she
Mm,
got into high school. She wanted so bad to be a cheerleader.
right.
Oh, she wanted it so bad. And she studied and worked her butt off and blah, blah, practice outside. And she was not accepted for a cheerleader because she was not good enough looking and blah, blah, blah.
Right, right. Isn't that awful? And I have a niece who nearly put herself through anorexia because she decided her thigh gap. She didn't have thigh gap. When she put her two legs together, apparently it's fashionable to, when you put your legs together, you're supposed to have a little gap between the thighs. She didn't. Because women are women. Yeah. So she
We have a
decided
gap
that
between
she
our
was.
thoughts. We're told to stop man spreading.
Yes, we are. We're told to stop man spreading. There's a female that shows
What
up
to stop? What is that called?
man spreading.
Mansplaining. Yes, yes,
Man
yes.
spreading.
Man
It's pretty much
spreading.
if you sit on the bus with your legs apart, if you're a guy and you sit on the bus with your legs apart, they say you're man spreading. Apparently that's a form of rape according to feminists today.
And there's
Okay.
actually, yes, that's true. There's actually, I forget what country it's in, they've got it posted on the bus and you can be arrested if you're a guy man spreading.
Man spreading.
Yes, you go on
Yeah.
the bus, you spread your legs
I
out a little bit, you go to jail.
I never heard of that.
Yes,
So they're telling you how to stand now.
yes, they are. Yes, it's gotten that
Yeah.
bad.
Wow. Good
But
God.
see, this is what power does. That's why I've always told people, money may be a root of all evil, but power corrupts the human mind. And greed, there's never enough. You want more, you want more, you want more. And
Wow.
your ego inflates, and the
Look,
more you,
okay, so this is another thing, right? How we've sexualized our culture, right? This drives me crazy. I don't have kids, right? But I mean, I've got friends who've got kids. My sister's got kids, and she breastfed her kids. She could not. She did breastfeed in public if she felt like it was safe and she could be private. But women, they have to breastfeed. If you want a healthy child, you breastfeed. But because breasts have been considered like now they've been sexualized, right? So they're like ornaments on a Christmas tree. People are offended if breasts are seen in public doing what they're designed to do, but it's okay if the same woman goes to a strip club. It's just
Oh, I
You know what's
know.
funny about that? You can watch National Geographic documentaries on national mainstream television where you have these like little fat tribal women dancing around a fire with their titties all hanging out. Nobody says anything about that.
Right, it's
Yep.
crazy, crazy,
You know?
crazy. And I bet the men are man spreading as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know?
They are. They're man spreading. It's just our society is really, I mean, really messed up. That's all I gotta say.
So we got a situation now where women aren't allowed to breastfeed in public and men aren't allowed to man spread. This is
Yeah,
insane.
exactly.
This is insane.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And personally, I'm
Yeah, we
totally
have
against
Kim
the idea of bottle
Kardashian's
feeding.
ass shoved in our face at every bus stop we go to.
I'm against the idea of bottle feeding. I was probably bottle fed when I was a kid. But if I was to have a baby today with a woman and we were to have a child, we were to start a family. If that were to happen, I'd much rather her naturally breastfeed the baby than bottle feed the baby because it's more natural and you get it straight from the source versus you don't know what kind of chemicals go into plastic on that bottle. I mean various other things. I mean what kind of chemicals are in the milk they sell at the store. I'd want to know that my baby was getting, the healthiest nourishment it could get.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
that's actually a good statement. The only fault that I would see with it is you better find some really healthy food or good food that ain't GMO. Because if
Right.
she's
Yeah, I
because if
know.
she's eating GMO, then her milk that she's going to be giving the baby is going to be contaminated by the food she's putting in her body.
Yeah, but even
Well,
still, it would be less contaminated than generally than bottle feeding. I mean,
they're already
it's not
working
going to say
on.
it'd be perfect, but I mean,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, that's a really good idea what you're saying. I'm not against what you're saying at all. I just
But they're
pointing out,
already working on what do you call it? Laboratory wombs now, anyway, so
yes.
that babies can be the fetus can develop in an artificial womb. So
and
that's
how
what.
much you want to. There are several things to figure out why there's a rise in birth defects. Okay, one of them goes back to bottle feed, and another one goes back to the inoculation shots that were given at birth.
Oh, sure as enough.
Wow.
That is true. Well,
Yeah.
guys, I'm going to get out of here. I gave us
We're
the
ready.
I gave us the extra 20 minutes because of all the little difficulties we had at the show.
That's nice.
Okay, but I'm going to get out of here. I need to try to get some sleep. I'm telling you.
Okay,
I
guys, I
have
need you to
not
all go
slept,
out and
so.
man spread. You go out and man
Hey,
spread. I
Louise,
can't
are you
breastfeed
gonna be
any
around?
babies. But
Hey, Louise, you gonna be around?
who's that?
You.
You gonna be around? You gonna be up
Yeah,
for a
I'm
little bit?
around. Yeah.
I'll call you when the show goes off.
All righty.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
All
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Yeah.
Thanks, Warren.
You guys
right.
all take good care of it, and I will talk to you later. And we'll be back here next week, Sunday night with Jerry and Monday night with Anna. And until then, people, you all have a good one.